What's going on, everyone? This is Sure Wins MMA, where we bring you inside access to the sharpest rising contenders in mixed martial arts. Today, we're joined by one of the most dangerous undefeated prospects in the UFC light heavyweight division and an undefeated finisher with elite striking, proven composure and confidence of a future contender. He steps back into the octagon March 29th, and he's looking to extend his perfect record and continue the rise toward the top of the division. We're joined today by UFC light heavyweight contender Navajo Stirling. How you doing, Navajo?
Yo, what's good, man? Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you for giving me the time. You're heading into another big opportunity on March 29th, and how does it feel, carrying that undefeated record, being in the UFC and, with, your finishes coming so basically so easy.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing I'm really lacking right now is the finishes. So I've been given a boot up the ass to really go for that in this fight. Um, yeah, this guy's that I'm fighting. I think he's 1-1 in the UFC. So it's kind of like put in place for me to get that done and show everyone, why I am the top prospect coming into the division.
Okay. And going into this, compared to your past previous camps and stuff like that, is there anything different going into it, like anything kind of mentally or
Yeah.
physically?
Yeah, definitely like a lot of physical adaptation in the training. I think last year they think because my training was so disconnected, I was with like doing maybe strength and conditioning with like different coaches, and it wasn't all under the one roof. But now we've got it all under the one roof. My coach pulled me aside like at the end of last year, and he's just like, I think something we noticed in the previous fights is I was just getting like a little bit too lactated, like lactic build up in the fight. I was kind of heavy breathing a little too early, and some serious changes need to happen to some of my cardio and stamina sort of in the gym. And I think now they've got me right all under one gym with the S&C and stuff. I'm doing a lot of training alongside Israel's trainer now, um, his strength and conditioning coach. So I think that might be the turning point for me in this fight compared to all the others. So it's just I always put in my effort every camp, even all the camps I did last year. I go all at it, and I think it's just not necessarily that I'm not pushing hard, but it's just pushing hard in the proper areas. So I think that's what I've got coming into this fight, and that's why I'm way more excited and think I'm going to get it done.
Okay. And with each UFC appearance, do you feel, as a fighter, where do you feel, you've evolved the most?
Oh, I think definitely like in the grappling. Um, I feel like when I first got into the UFC, I didn't have a lot of MMA experience, so I wrestled a lot, and I did a lot of like MMA specific wrestling and grappling positions, and but I just didn't really have the confidence to really perform. Like I always thought, like everyone overseas in the States and that were way more high level, and then after now doing my first trip over to Thailand and training with other athletes over there, as well as obviously the actual experience in the cage. I think I should have a little bit more confidence now in a lot of the grappling positions, which I do now. Yeah, I've kind of realized like, oh, these guys aren't doing anything that I've never seen before. So it's just having the confidence there. But the ability was always there. I think it's just a mental switch and the grappling, and I think now I can really look to add that part of my game as offense. I've done it a little bit. I've wrestled back in some of my fights that I've had, and I've kind of been like, oh, this guy's not that strong here, or he feels a little bit weak. So yeah, I think it's just now actually being like, oh, I can use that as a weapon.
Okay. Okay. That's something to kind of keep an eye out for and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, compared, to your striking is a big part of your weapon and arsenal. What improvements have you made that, you could probably say that's not going to be immediately noticeable to like other fans or other people, but you're making those improvements.
Yeah, I think just taking my time a little bit more and yeah, just properly like actually picking the shots rather than just throwing and throwing. Um, I'm just I noticed in my last fight I just missed a lot of punches, due to fatigue and just keep throwing for no reason. Just got to take my time and sit back and let the shots sort of just place the shots with a bit more precision as opposed to just throwing hard and missing. So I think that's something I've put a lot of thought into in the sparring, and I think I feel it coming together a lot more now.
Okay. And going into this matchup, right, where do you feel, you hold the biggest advantage over your opponent on March 29th?
Definitely like just athleticism. I think I've hold a little bit more over this guy, and just the youth. The youth. He's got a lot of experience, but I feel like I've beaten better level opponents, and um, yeah, I think my youth as well as my athleticism and all the experience I have through my kickboxing, I think I can really nullify his game and look to put him away. And yeah.
Okay. And you being undefeated, right? That comes with confidence, but it also comes with expectations. How much of your confidence has grown since entering into the UFC? Or do you feel, your confidence has maintained kind of the same level
Yeah,
since?
yeah. It's a good question. I mean, for me, the undefeated, I, I don't actually look at the undefeated like as it like a pressure sort of thing. I haven't lost since I was like 21, and that was the first loss I had when that was in kickboxing, which has been 7 years now since then. And yeah, I just remember the pain of losing back then. I'm like, I'll never let that happen again. And yeah, I feel like I've my confidence is just comes from the training and all the effort I put in. And I've always come into fights low experience, always. And I think as every fight comes in and I get more and more experience, I feel like I'm just gonna become unstoppable once I get to like, 10, 20 plus fights. And I still have the passion and drive I have now. If I get to that point, man, I feel like if I'll be a champion by then or about to be, I just want to go on a crazy run. So yeah, the experience, all of that just starts to add up. And I feel like I'm real young in the division. This is like an old man's division, the light heavyweight. There's a lot of guys like 35 plus killing it, man. And I'm only 28 and I'm able to hang. So I think by the time I get to that age and the experience takes over, I think I'm going to be a force.
And going into that, how you said kind of the division is a bunch of like older people with more experience and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Do you kind of feel like they're starting to recognize you as a real threat, or do you kind of feel that, some people are still underestimating you and your true
Yeah.
potential?
Yeah. I feel like coming into my debut and all that, like I did have a lot of expectation, and I feel like I didn't really rise to the occasion or break out for the stardom, and that's been the disappointing thing. And it's kind of put me under the radar a little bit. I feel like I'm still under the radar to a lot of people, which is it might be a blessing in itself. Because once I pop out and I do start to get my rhythm going, I think everyone's going to be in trouble, and they're going to have to mention my name. But I think everyone knows I got the skills, and they're just like, man, this guy's skillful. He's not just coming in there looking for a bar fight. Because I feel like a lot of people in the division do that. They pull back on the skills, and just they're very exciting and they get the hype, and that's where they've been able to steal the spotlight over me. But I think once I do get that going, man, everyone's in trouble.
Okay. And the division is always evolving. You're right in the mix of it, and you're one of the people that has one of the biggest rising names right now. How
Yeah.
close do you feel you are to becoming a true contender up next in line for the title shot?
I think I've got a bit of time. I think I'm probably going to end up taking this longer route. Um, but yeah, I think, and when I do get to that contender spot, maybe in a year or two, it all really depends on how everything plays out with winning and how many fights you get in a year. But man, you can be fast tracked to the title pretty fast. We've all seen it happen with like, Joshua Van. I think he just jumped everyone and got
Yeah.
right straight to the belt. It just felt like he closed your eyes and he was the champion. So yeah, something like that can happen definitely. And you just got to be ready to be a contender as soon as you get to the UFC. I think. And they're going to push you fast or make you go slow. But either way, I don't care. I just want to fight. I don't care who I'm fighting. I love fighting so much. I'd fight every second weekend if I could. But yeah, I don't know what's the gap. So see how the division plays out and how we go in these fights.
Okay. And getting into that as well, do you feel this fight is kind of where you should be like, do you expect to make kind of like a statement in this fight, or are you got kind of focused on, let's get the win, kind of rack up, the record and stuff like that, and let's kind of
Yeah.
focus on the future opponents?
I think we're looking for the statement win. I think I was actually looking for it the last fight, but that didn't come through. So yeah, it's just I feel like I've got the experience now. Like three rounders has given me all the experience, and I've been put in every different spot and situation, and in all of those fights, had to work my way back from maybe being down and around to clutching it back and winning the next two, and then dominating 3 rounds straight, and yeah, and then kind of back and forth in another fight. So I think the experience I've definitely built it enough, and I'm no longer going to be shy in the cage. So it's just really now it's looking for a statement and just putting the division on notice. That's what we got to do to put ourselves up there. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do this fight.
Okay. And, March 29th comes, everything has worked and, come together and everything. In your mindset, when you walk into the octagon, like, how do you visualize it on fight night?
I just try to be like super present, block out the noise, because you do so much media and talking, and there's so many people like sending you messages and everything, man. All of that, but all of that doesn't matter once you're in the cage. You have to really focus on what's in front of you and let your training do the talking. So I just try to get to a place where nothing else in the world matters for that time and for that day, if anything, because the real battle, the real fight is like the wait until you get to the cage. So yeah, it's just being really honed in on that moment, and yeah, just let the training take over, feel the shots, pick the shots, and put the dude away. It's just let it come to you, 100%.
Okay. And do you typically, try to visualize like how you want the fight to go, or do you just let, things come naturally and just let you do your thing?
Yeah, I like to let things come naturally. Because sometimes when things go wrong and people put that visualization a certain way, then they start to crumble. I think when the going gets tough. So yeah, I'm always ready to play the nail as well as the hammer, but I think for this one, I've definitely visualized the way it's going, and I'm actually changing it up to how I usually do it. Yeah, I'm looking to put this guy away. Definitely.
Okay. And going into kind of, you haven't had your last fight was last year in September, correct?
Yeah.
And it's been kind of a little bit of a time. Have you been kind of just working the whole time, improving on yourself, or have you been kind of, taking time off, enjoying
Yeah.
like family and friends and stuff like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I like to take time off and train. Like, I like to train and learn without the pressure a little bit. So, yeah, I did a bit of a trip over to Thailand, and it was my first time going over there. I was able to train with like a few big, like they had a lot of light heavyweights there, at the time, a guy from PFL and stuff like that. So I was training with them, getting some good looks, and yeah, that was where I kind of had that refound confidence um, for myself again. Just training with a whole bunch of dudes and just realizing like, oh, I'm showing them like stuff that they've never seen before, and it just gave me a lot of confidence coming back into myself coming into the new year. And yeah, I was trying to get a fight early in February, but yeah, certain injuries played out and couldn't get ready to go early in the year. So yeah, March I feel like it's not too far from September, so I don't feel like I'll get a lot of ring rust or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, I'd say I've just got to. I was doing a lot of learning and training and stuff over the break for sure.
Okay, and kind of like, on your off time and stuff like that, what are things that you kind of like to do, or how do you like to kind of keep yourself occupied?
To be honest, bro, I stream a lot, like playing video games and stuff, bro. I'm a little different to most fighters. I don't know too many fighters that do what I do, but other than maybe Max Holloway, but yeah, I just play the game and honestly, I'm chill as like other than fighting, I'm just relaxing, chilling, bit of a nerd. I just watch anime and stuff like that, and yeah, that's pretty much all I do get up to outside of fighting. And then if I've just fought, I might go out and party with my mates and stuff, and yeah, just live a bit of a DJing life. But yeah, it's still good. It's like work hard, play hard. So yeah, no, I really enjoy my lifestyle and everything I do outside of the cage. Um, Sometimes dabble in the YouTube and that as well. So yeah, just I don't know. I just do what I feel like doing.
Hey, sometimes that's what it's about, man. I mean, you deserve it. I mean, you earned it.
Yeah, yeah,
You do what you love, and I mean, you work hard. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
right
yeah,
to treat yourself once in a while after all the hard work has paid off and everything.
yeah.
All right, so kind of kind of like my final questions, right? When fans watch you on March, what 29th, what's something that they could learn about you that they didn't know before?
Oh man. Honestly, I have no clue. To be honest, that maybe like yeah, I'm even though I look scary, I'm just honestly chill as chill as. To be honest, I have a real laid back personality. And yeah, I don't. It gets to a point like I don't even know how I got into fighting. I'm so laid back. I'm not very confrontational and that. So when they see me like real serious, I'm not like that at all. That would be the one, to be honest.
And
Yeah.
essentially, like, how you say, you kind of like wonder how you got into it and everything, sometimes like got into fighting. How did that like originate? What made you kind of turn and kind of say, I want to do this fighting thing for a living?
Yeah, I just liked it because I felt like I played team sports my whole life, and you had to go to play for the top schools or play for these good clubs, and I liked fighting because it doesn't matter where you come from. You could be fighting in the slums or fighting in a flash gym. You can make it, man. If you can make it, like the 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 responsibility of the fight just for yourself, like you doing it yourself, you can make it happen. You can if you can put chin to leather against, I don't know, some hot shot dude, like
Right.
you can build your way up in the sport. And I stuck to that, man. I stuck to that, and that's how I got to the UFC. I didn't know anything about fighting when I got into it. I just knew that, oh man, if I train hard, like train harder than everyone and maybe put a lot of effort, I could be like the best ever. And then I just did that from first fight right up into the UFC, and I haven't been wrong since. I've proved myself right every time, and yeah, just that's why I got into it. It's crazy, like you can change your life with just by knocking people out, and that's pretty much how it happens.
All right, that's pretty cool. Okay, that's pretty much all I have to ask. Undefeated, focused, and rising fast, Navajo Sterling returns March 29th, looking for another statement inside of the UFC light heavyweight division. We appreciate your time, Navajo Stirling. Best of luck on fight night. This is Sherwin's MMA. Thank you for the opportunity again, Navajo, and I look forward to seeing another banger fight from you on March 29th.
Yo, cheers, brother. Appreciate it.